Played 5 years. I got my pension. It's a sign. Maybe not the level I wanted to. It's a sign. Make sure you read the fine print of any contract you sign one in the NFL. It's implied most of the time. Sometime that states that sometime in your career, you must sell life insurance. So anyway, I was fulfilling that part of the obligation, and I moved to Chicago. I was working for an agency in Chicago. When I get a phone call from a teammate, it's coming in Chicago. Big dinner, sports dinner, Boys and Girls Club in Chicago, sponsored by the NFL. Guys are coming from all over the league. Hey, why don't you join us? You haven't seen you since the end of the season. Oh, it'd be great getting together again. I'm not going back. I declined politely. He pushed. I declined some more. He pushed some more. I declined a little firmly. He pushed harder. I declined harder. Then he asked me the question, why? Why? I really hadn't thought about why, because we don't. Sometimes we just go with our emotions. I really didn't want to deal with why. When the only thing I could shout out over the phone was, well, I quit, I'm not going back. He said, you can't quit. He said, if you quit, what you've already done is that you've already made a decision for that coaching staff. He said, now, do you like them well enough to make decisions for them? He said, no, your responsibility. This is what you want to do. He said, you come back and you make them make a decision. You back them in the corner. You give them every reason to either keep you or release you, but you don't cut yourself. I mean, the reality of this game is that we're all dispensable. The reality of this game is we all can be cut at any time. But if this is what you want, you don't cut yourself. And maybe it was just the arm twisting I needed. Oh, and I went back. And everything that I had perceived here for all did take place. And I had a fight with every rage and draft choice of rookie. Once again, just to be able to make the team. Leading ground leader for the exhibition season. Thank you very much. I tell you that because there's a reason. One of the things that we love to do, we as human beings, is that we love to extrapolate our successes. We love to project our successes, no matter what it may be. Wow, look at what I did this first quarter. Look at what I did this month. If I can continue to do this, wow, what a great year we're going to have. Oh, I can buy this now. We love to do that. I don't understand. I'm asking myself, I'm the leading ground leader. How come I'm doing it? The ball during the regular season. Obviously, I must have some talent. Hey, you give me the ball 500, 600, 700 times, I will get you 1,000 yards. Don't you worry about that. Just like Frank. When it finally dawned on me that the reason I was the leading ground leader wasn't because I was bigger or faster or better than my fellow teammates. It was the simple fact that I just played more than anybody else during that period of time. I carried the ball more than anybody else during that period of time. Given those two simple statistics, I better be the leading ground gainer during that period of time, because all they were providing for me was an opportunity to be able to make this team. And they had to keep me. As I love to tell people, I was the 5th running back out of 4 at the beginning of that season. Back playing special teams once again. But all of a sudden, in that first game that year, Frank Harris, our starting fullback, gets hurt. The backup becomes the starter. I become the backup to the backup. Wow! I had not been there in those years previously. That light just got a little bit brighter. Ooh, maybe I'll get a chance to play. So with renewed vigor, that first game, second game, third game, fourth game, right before the half, the backup gets hurt. I'm inserted in the game at fullback, along with my running mate, a guy by the name of Preston Pearson, finished his career with the Dallas Cowboys. He breaks one, 43 yards down the sideline, scores, gives us a lead as we go into halftime. We go over assignments, adjustments. And I'm thinking to myself, who's going to start the second half? Hey, how about those guys that catch you the lead in the first half. We get to start the second half, Preston and I. And as a team, we win that game. Everybody else still kind of banged up. Preston and I get to start the following week. And we win that game. And the week thereafter is a Monday night game, an extra day of healing. Franco now becomes healthy. Damn. That's okay. At least I got a chance to play, show proof what I do. And we had our pre-game meal. Right after our pre-game meal, we got a break. It's all the running backs get together. We go over last-minute assignments, adjustments. Coach gives us the first 3 plays of the game, just in case our beloved quarterback, Bradshaw, should forget, so that we can remind him of what they are. And he looks around the table and he said, Franco, you and Rock will start tonight. Oh, momentarily I was quite confused. I didn't know how we both could play the same position at the same time. When it finally dawned on me, I was going to play the fullback position. I was going to play the other running back position. Now, what confused me was that nobody told me that. I wish they would have. I'd been better prepared in going to that game. And we start that game. Oh, and as a team, we win that game. So we get to start the following week. Oh, we win that game. And we start the remaining part of that season. Bradshaw, Franco, and myself. And we win the division. And we go to the playoffs. And we win the playoffs. And we go to the Super Bowl. And we win the Super Bowl. And we play 6 more years together. And we win 3 more Super Bowls. In 1976, Franco and I become the second set of running backs in the history of the NFL, each gained 1,000 yards rushing in 1 season. And after 12 years, I retired. Now, I tell you that story in context because of the fact that within our lives, no matter how hard you work, determined you may be, how passionate you are for what you're doing, there are times within our lives, obviously, when we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. There's times in our lives when we beat our head against the wall. There are times in our lives when we want to quit. We wrestle with screaming on the other side. And we wonder why we're doing what we're doing when we should be doing something else. Well, I suppose the moral of this story right here is that if I would have quit all those many years ago, I'd never had the opportunity to play 12 years, have all those memories, playing those 4 Super Bowls. But the reason I got a chance to play wasn't because of my size or my speed, 2 things I do not possess. But ultimately it was one talent. Well, what we have to understand is that we all have a talent within our lives, of one nature or another. And it's our responsibility to be able to define that talent and bring it to the forefront. We have strengths and we have weaknesses, like any organization, like any team. And the best that we can do is to identify those strengths, work around those weaknesses as we identify those as well. Because we can't be everything to all people. And we can't be that one singular great person. We have to understand. We see all those many years ago, prior to that breakout group, Chuck Noll happened to stop our backfield coach and said, listen, you have a weakness in your backfield. Who is your best blocker? He said Bleier. He said then Starr. One talent. All of a sudden, that fine line of one that connected my life came full circle. Much like the fine line of one that connects all of our lives to where we are at this moment in time. Obviously, if it wasn't for that one talent, I might not have had that opportunity to be able to play that game or start. Then I got to thinking, well, you know, if it wasn't for Preston's, or if it wasn't for that one injury, we might not have played. Or if it wasn't for Preston's one touchdown, we might never have played that second half. Or if it wasn't for that one phone call, I might never have come back. Or for that one postcard, or that one triple amputee, or that one terrific game against Vicky Weisberg. It may never happen. And that is the power that we have. Whether you believe it or not, the power to influence, the power to change, the power to make a difference, the power to make an impact within our lives, from the people that we touch. Because as William Jennings Bryan said, destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. It's not a thing to be waited for, but it's a thing to be achieved in each and every one of our destinies. Ultimately, eyes right here in our hands, we can become what we want to become. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with a few words that have been with me for many, many years, and they go like this. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you cannot, you don't. If you like to win, think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. Life's battles will always go the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the one who wins is the one who thinks he can. You're all members out there. You know it. God bless. So now we get to the real reason. Now we get to questions about what you really want to hear, rather than having to listen to me. It's amazing. We're going to have a question and answer, so we're going to have I just want another lesson here. Here's another lesson. Somehow, I just have to tell you a small honesty. It hasn't changed. You know, as an on-site social sitting here, and you go, oh my God, I don't know if he has a question. You know.